Hey, howdy, hey, awesome people of the internet. Wolfman47 here. Yes, that was me doing the classic pose from The Lion King, which we're going to talk about today. So, as I now do these Let's Talk videos as a sort of review based, today I'm going to be reviewing each of the different things that I've seen and or played or whatever with The Lion King. So, so we've got a lot to get through, so let's get straight to it. So starting off, let's talk about the film that started it all, The Lion King from 90 whatever it was. So this was the very first film I saw at the cinema. So very first film I saw at the cinema, very first animated film I saw at the cinema. And I don't know if it was the very first film overall that I saw, but it was definitely the first one I definitely saw, having the big screen experience and everything. Um, all of you know the story. It's basically a loose adaptation of Hamlet, except because it's Disney, they decide to mix it up a bit to try and appeal to everybody and just do things differently. And in this version of the play, it's African animals, where you got a lion that's clearly the king, hence the name Lion King. You got this other lion called Scar trying to kill this Lion King called Mufasa. Then there's the young prince called Simba, who just can't wait to be king, but is forced to leave the Pride Lands, and then teams up with Timon and Pumbaa, and yeah, you get the idea with that. It's a very beloved classic. It's my all-time favorite film of all time, like my number one all-time favorite film. And while that may be me being biased because this was the first one I saw in a cinema, I mean, it's, I mean, it any time people go to the cinema. Obviously, the first film you see at the cinema, it's going to have a lasting impact on you. You know, no matter what, and the Lion King certainly did have a major impact on me. Whether that was carried on into the other films, who knows? But I can definitely say that it was definitely a film that Disney should have definitely paid more attention to, because apparently behind the scenes, Disney were hoping that Pocahontas would be the more successful film, but in the end, it was this film that was the more successful film, and rightly so, because great story, great characters, lots of great songs, great animation, a fantastic music and score from the legendary Hans Zimmer and the equally legendary Elton John. Um, yeah, you can't go wrong with it. It may not be. I mean, even though the version of the film we get now is only like a version that that Disney want you to see, slight edits that you only ever notice if you're like a true if you've seen the original film and remember it quite well. But yeah, this The Lion King, the original animated film, pretty simple, 5 stars. Yeah, can't go wrong with it. Um, it may not be perfect to most people, but it's definitely a perfect film to me. No matter what, whether that's biased or not, I don't really care. I love it. So yeah. So I did play not the video games, but I played a couple of the software. Well, actually, no, I did play one of the video games or a demo of it, and also some software. So let's talk about them, and I'll just collect them as like one review. So I did so when I was younger, I played a software game called which I forget the name of it, but it's basically a teaching typing kind of game of thing where you get taught how to type by Rafiki and other Lion King characters, and this other Lion King thing I got, which I think was an activity center or something. Um, they came as part of a promotional thing with either Kellogg's or Nestle cereals. I forget which one. It was such a long time ago. Where you can get free games if you fill in a form or something, and it gets posted. So mum did that, and we got two Lion King things. So we got that. We got the teaching typing thing. We got the activity center thing, and at some point I did get the demo version of Timon and Pumbaa's minigame madness thing as well. So yeah, I got my Lion King kick from those, and they definitely felt like Lion King things, but they're probably not gonna win everybody over, especially the educational ones, but and so forth. And they probably not have not aged too well, but I wouldn't know. I've not played them in years. but I may play them for Let's Play at some point. So yeah, so based on memory alone, I'm gonna give the tie-in games that I have played. So not all the games, just the ones I've played. Give them 3 stars because I'm not expecting them to be any better than they have been when I first played them. So yeah, that's what I think of that. So Lion King was one of those films that unfortunately did get some direct to home media sequels, but before you click away, um, the two home media sequels or whatever you want to call them are actually not as bad as many of the other Disney ones that Disney made, particularly because they both managed to somehow retain the good animation of the film, as well as the cast, and some songs are okay, but yeah, I'll let you be the judge. Anyway, so the first one is The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride, and it's basically another loose adaptation of a Shakespeare play, this time Romeo and Juliet, with Simba and the Pride Lions being whatever Juliet's family is called. It's been a while since I've seen the play. And the Pride Lands being the Badlands, or whatever you want to call them, being the Romeo part. So you got these two lions falling in love, but their two families are against one another, and yeah. So you got Simba and the Pride Lands versus the loyal followers of Scar. And yeah, you can kind of get the feeling that you want to root for one side over the other, but you're not sure which one for. And I'll be honest, this film has decent animation. The songs are pretty decent as well. Whether they were meant to be in the actual film or not, or actual first film or not, is another matter. But yeah, they're pretty. It's pretty decent. A pretty decent story. It's not. It's far from perfect. Definitely far from perfect. I will say that. But it does what it sets out to do, whether you like it or not. And I don't think it's going to be any better than the original film. But at least they tried to continue it the best way they can. So I think overall, I'm going to give this one 4 stars because it is decent, if nothing else. So, bringing us on to the stage musical, because I did see the stage musical. So this one is basically everybody gets dressed up, makeup and so forth, and all the animal characters are puppets or they're actually physically played by someone. And from what I remember in the musical, it, as you'd expect with a musical, because stage musicals are allowed more time, lots of stuff is expanded upon. So, and they also feature some songs that were from Simba's Pride as well, which I think were originally meant to be in the first film, but they ran out of time or couldn't fit it in anywhere. So it does feature that. And I'll be honest, I did, from what I remember of the Lion King stage musical, I did enjoy it very well. I did have doubts that it would work with it being an all animal and no human film, but they managed to work it in well using puppetry and animatronics and other things as well, and it was really a good production from what I remember. I don't think it's any better than the film itself, but it definitely gives it a run for its money, for sure. So I'm gonna give that stage musical 4 stars because it's pretty good, but not far from perfect in terms of if it's any better than the first Lion King. So with that brings us on to the third animated Lion King film, which is of course some people refer to it as the Lion King 3 Hakuna Matata, and other people refer to it as the Lion King 1.5. Personally, I refer to it as the Lion King, the midquel, or whatever you want to call it. So basically, this is just Timon and Pumbaa doing a Mystery Science Theater 3000 feature length sketch in which they are basically providing commentary for the first film, but have parts of the film be told from their point of view. So it brings in some. So it kind of explains a few things that happened in the first film, as well as some other things that didn't really need explaining, but we got explanation anyway. And it's quite a funny film because Timon and Pumbaa, to be fair, they are two of the most beloved characters across Disney, particularly because of their comic relief and just how most of their humor is not cringy or anything. And and the guys that voice them, they are pretty good at providing humor and all that. And I think this film it serves its purpose. If you want a more comedic take on The Lion King, without the dramatics and stuff, then do watch this one because it's okay. It's I wouldn't say it's perfect. Again, no film's perfect, but it's definitely, if you want to see the first film but don't really want to see like the parts that would make a child upset or whatever, because some parents might get worried about seeing those dramatic scenes in the film, then yeah, give this a try. But only watch it if you've seen but I'd say only watch it if you've seen the first film already, the original first film already. Or if you don't want, or if you'd rather watch it without seeing the original film already, that's fine too. But don't expect it to be dramatic or upsetting or whatever, because it's meant to be a more comedic take. Because Timon and Pumbaa, as I say, they're comic relief, and they always will be comic relief. So I give whatever you want to call the third Lion King animated film 4 stars as well. So that's that. Now, before I move on to the remake, the not live action remakes, the photorealistic live action remakes, let's talk about an animated series which I think was just called Timon and Pumbaa, but I could be wrong about that. Anyway, during the time when the Disney Channel was about, obviously lots of different films and so forth had spin-offs in the form of TV shows, and among the ones from the Disney Renaissance, Lion King was one of those shows, and it ended up having the Timon and Pumbaa show, where where it just basically throws Timon and Pumbaa in various different comedies, scenarios, and everything. It's kind of more of what you'd expect from Timon and Pumbaa. If you thought the film wasn't enough, there's just more of that for you in those episodes. I don't remember them too well, and based on that, I'm just going to give them 3 stars because yeah, I don't really remember it all that well, other than it existed, and just gives you more of Timon and Pumbaa if you want more of Timon and Pumbaa. So that's that. And one more thing before the remakes, there was this other animated series called The Lion Guard, which I believe is a continuation of the animated Lion King from Simba's Pride onwards, although I could be wrong about that, where it's about this lion cub thing who leads a pack of protective animals that are just trying to protect the Pride Lands and go on various adventures. I guess, and I know Scar's spirit makes an appearance in there somewhere. Honestly, I don't I gave it a chance. I gave it a chance through a few episodes, but I could not get into it. Mainly because the animation, while it does look very much like the original film, it just felt too simplistic and off-putting to me. And I don't really remember that much from it. So, unfortunately, I'm going to give this one also 3 stars. So, yeah. Right. So, brace yourself. It's now time to talk about the photorealistic remake of The Lion King. Now, the reason why I say photorealistic instead of live action, as many people would probably assume it was, is because it might be possible, but it probably is impossible to train lots of real life animals that you see in the Lion King to sort of act and so forth. It's just impossible. And even if they did try to do that, the thought of just having talking animals with CGI lips, just, if it's done cheaply, it's not going to look great. If it's done on a much higher budget, it probably still won't look great, because Disney have been well known to sort of put in way too much money into their films, because they heavily rely on visual effects, because visual effects are the thing that drives the film forward. But really, it's not really the main thing, I mean, take the Five Nights at Freddy's film, for example. That was made on a lower budget, and they managed to get all 4 animatronics to look like the animatronics that we know and love, and they got the location and everything right, and that was made on a very low budget, and it did really well. But anyway, enough about that. So, I guess the photorealistic Lion King is basically, as you'd expect it to be, like any other Disney remake. It's basically a copy and paste of the original film with a few differences. There's a few, like they've made some points about making things politically correct or a bit of wokeness in there. And also trying to make out that Timon and Pumbaa are not an item. They are in fact two different species who are just best buds and or brothers or whatever you want to call it. Um, and I think the only thing that they really do expand upon, which I don't really know if it really needed to expand upon, is what drove Nala to actually go find Simba, because that was never really explained in the original film, and in this remake it's kind of sort of explained in a way, but it's like it doesn't feel necessary. And also when you hear James Earl Jones doing, may he rest in peace, do the Mufasa voice again, it just feels like he's just tired and old and everything. Honestly, if they wanted to make a live action, sorry, not a live action, a photorealistic Lion King remake, just make a documentary. Just make a documentary. Have David Attenborough do the narration or whatever. Yeah, it probably would have been much better. But obviously, they couldn't do that because the Disney nature documentary African Cats kind of beat them to it. But still, they could have still. They didn't need to remake the original film. The original film's perfect, and I get why Disney do this because they want to sort of attract fans of the original to see another version of it, and as well as introducing a new generation of people to those films. But the thing is, no matter what you think, everybody will go back to the original film no matter what. So Disney are just wasting their time and money and effort on them, to be quite honest. And it's also a reason why people just don't trust them. But anyway, before I get too carried away on that, let's get back to topic. So, um, I I'm just gonna give this one 2 stars because I don't think there's really anything redeemable about it. It's not even the new version of Scar's "Be Prepared" song. It's not great. If you want to do a villain song, actually sing it. Don't be like talking. Go, oh, be prepared, blah blah blah. Be prepared, blah 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 blah. Just sing it. Jeremy Irons sang it, and Jim Cummings had to fill him in for when he broke his voice. Just sing the bloody song because that's what people want to see, not somebody go, oh, just be prepared. Yeah. Anyway, so last thing I will talk about in this video is Mufasa, because I did in the end see that, even though initially I decided I didn't want to see it. My friend, 323Lee323 or whatever his YouTube name is, he was going through a period of time towards the end of last year where he was trying to watch as many films as possible, and when he picked out films for each group, each friend he goes with, he ended up picking Mufasa when it was me and him, because we always meet up every New Year's Day, because it's just our little tradition when every time a bank holiday arrives. But anyway, I'll give Mufasa this, even though I feel they could have just done it completely animated, not use photorealistic animation. I will give it this. It is only a little bit better than the photorealistic remake. Lin Manuel Miranda does the songs in this new film, which aren't really all that memorable, apart from the villains one, which actually does feel like a proper villain song, and compared to the remake. And they do fix the problem that the remake had, which is emotionless characters, because everybody, no matter if they're happy, sour, there's just the same thing. Um, Performance wise, I don't know if it's any better or worse. And I do kind of like how in this film it's both a sequel and a prequel. Sequel in the sense that it's set that how that the story is told as if it was a bedtime story, like Rafiki telling the story, where with Timon and Pumbaa providing commentary like they do, and Simba and Nala's daughter, who I forget the name, is the same couple from the Simba's Pride, just listening, all curious and everything. And the whole idea of how Mufasa and Scar came to be, it was interesting because most people would assume that the two of them are indeed brothers from another line and so forth. But in this take on their origin story, it and I hope, and this is a spoiler part I'm about to reveal, just so you're aware. Um, yeah, they're not brothers at all. It turns out they're just brothers based on the fact that they were once in a in a pack of lions together, and then we kind of get a sense that Scar will betray them, and he does eventually betray him, only to then sort of prove his loyalty to Mufasa. So yeah, it does definitely reveal how they came to be, but honestly, it could have they didn't need to make it the photorealistic remake. Like, they didn't need to make it photorealistic. They could have just gone with traditional animation like before. But then, of course, if that happens, Disney would want it to be part of their animation canon, or they'd just be like, no, we're not doing traditional animation. Just just do some do just do the thing that people would like to see with the Lion King. Don't just assume that people want this over the other. Anyway, Mufasa, I'm gonna give 3 stars because even though it is better than the photorealistic remake, it's not that much better, to be quite honest. So yeah. So that's what I think of all the Lion King stuff that I've seen and or played. It's definitely one of Disney's best franchises, and I'm glad that there's going to be no more things coming out of it, particularly with the photorealistic stuff. But and I know, it's nice to see that it is getting represented in other forms of media as well, including Kingdom Hearts and Dreamlight Valley. So yeah, it's definitely well remembered. People still love it, and like it or not, whether you like the later films or not, it's still a beloved classic, and it's still one of my all time favorite films. As biased as it sounds, um, it definitely did not need a remake, but it is what it is. So yeah. Um, of course, I did briefly touch upon both films when I did do my Disney why Disney needs to stop these remakes video from when I first started doing these videos. But obviously this is now my official review, and I'm not going to return and just suddenly decide to change my mind about it. This is definitely the last time I'm going to talk about any of the remakes because they don't need to exist and all that. So yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos. I upload videos at various times daily in the BST/GMT time zone. I do vlogs like this where I'm reviewing stuff or just talk about things that's in pop culture that I'm interested in, as well as just talking about life in general and doing hauls as well. I also do shorts that are basically pretty random shorts, but usually have a purpose. And I do a lot of gameplay videos, so I do two versions: straight up gameplay videos where it's just gameplay, nothing else, usually following a very long game done in parts, and let's play videos where it's just a single game, and I'm not with the plan is to return to it at a later date or not, and just do one video and that's it. So that's what I do, as well as other stuff as well. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to share with your pals, do so. If you want to leave a comment, do so, especially because I like to hear what you think about the Lion King stuff. Also, if you are subscribed, please hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on my content, especially when I release new stuff. See you in the next one. Peace to you all. And remember, the circle of life is a thing. Remember who you are. Do not lose hope. Do not lose your courage. And if you have the drive to get what should rightfully be yours, do that. So yeah. All right. Toodles.
Long